Good evening, everyone. I hope we are doing well. Let's have someone pray so that we can start off the class.
I'll pray. Father Lord, in Jesus' name, we come before you this evening. Lord, we want to thank you because yesterday we were here and we have met the sound. Thank you, Lord, because you have protected us throughout the day. Thank you because you are merciful. Thank you because, Father, thank you because you did the works of Calvary. We stand by because of our sins. Thank you because you are Lord, as we start this class, we welcome you to start with us. When we see the end of the class, we shall be careful to give you the glory and all the adoration. We have come with us faith, we pray, believing and trusting.
Amen. Thank you, Marianne. Dixon, if you're able to still record for us today, you can. I don't know if you are able to find the file, the recording that we did yesterday, you can share with me, because I believe it's supposed to save. So when you finish every class, if possible, you can share the file with me. Yes, Timothy. Timothy, your hand is raised. Do you have something to say?
We wanted to pray.
All right, thank you for that. Marianne has already prayed. Maybe you can close with the word of prayer once we are done with our class, if that's okay with you. Right, so we'll proceed from yesterday's class. We're still within the day, actually. So Wednesday, Thursday is what we're covering for day 2 today. So when you look at your timetable today, we are looking at, okay. Right, so today we're looking at what counseling is, what counseling is not. We'll also cover goals of counseling that we normally use. We'll look at qualities of a competent counselor. We'll also share the kind of issues that you think that people take for counseling or bring for counseling. Then we'll look at the values. We'll also look at the values of the counselor and also personal development. And then I will give you your first activity to do individually, which is the Johari window. So that's what we'll be touching on today. And I believe we'll be able to get something. So I'll begin what counseling is. Let me share my slides. Just a minute. Right, so what counseling is. So the first thing is counseling is a professional helping relationship that is ethical, supportive, and confidential. So what I'm doing here, I'll be giving you like numerous or 5 ways you can define what counseling is, and each one of them are very important. But the most, if there's one that you should never forget, is this first one. And counseling is a professional helping relationship that is ethical, supportive, and confidential. So yesterday we looked at what counseling entails. And if I may ask, if you can remember, what does counseling entail? I think I'll choose anyone. What does counseling entail? Millicent, what did we say counseling entails from yesterday's class?
We talked of relationship.
Yes, relationship.
We talked of the process, and then we talked of the skills.
Yes. So counseling entails the relationship, the process, and the skills. So anytime you hear of counseling, the first thing that should come to your mind is the relationship. And that relationship is between you as the counselor and the client. Sometimes we say a therapeutic relationship. Yeah, so you might hear people say therapeutic relationship or just a relationship between you, the counselor, and the client. So another thing is counseling is a helping activity. We are helping people to be able to process their emotions, to be able to understand themselves, to be able to have a healthy mindset, to how to be for the mental state to be healthy. All these things we are doing is we are helping them to be able to get or to move from point A to B. If they're stressed and they don't know how to handle stress, we are helping them to be able to come up with coping skills, coping mechanism, or techniques to ensure that they're able to cope with any form of stress that they may experience either during your sessions or even after you have terminated your sessions. So anytime you hear of counseling, it's a helping relationship. Sometimes you also say it's a helping profession. And most professions that are out there, most do not even equate to counseling. And what I mean is we are helping people. Yes, there are those that help people, like, for example, the ones that rescue people from any form of harm, if it may be fire, may it be what. There are certain careers that help people. So counseling is part of it. We are a helping profession. Then we also need to know that we need to be ethical. We need to maintain the ethics. If you've heard of ethics, I'll train you more about it, but we need to maintain an ethical relationship with them. Some of the things that we touch on when it comes to ethics is confidentiality. That is the one thing that carries counseling. Because if we do not keep our clients' information confidential, then we are risking quote unquote their lives. Like, we are risking their story to be known by everyone. And a counselor, I usually say, as an individual, you struggle with keeping things to yourself. Counseling will be able to, mature you up, or will be able to trigger you in a manner where you'll start evaluating yourself and see, what, I need to keep secrets. I need to keep people's information with me, and I don't have to share it with anybody else. Sometimes I can share a client's case, or you might find yourself sharing a client's case. But what we usually do, we do not mention their name. I can train you here and give you examples of sessions I've had before and their experiences, but you will never find me mentioning their names. So I share the purpose of educating you, or for you to learn something from their experience, but I withdraw from saying their name. And even when you get to this position where you're now doing sessions, or even if you're sharing other people's stories, maybe for someone else to learn, avoid mentioning their names. So people who struggle to keep information to themselves, you will find yourself struggling to keep your clients' information safe as well. So that's why we keep on saying, counseling, when you start doing this course, do not let your focus be just other people. Evaluate yourself. What are those things that you struggle with? So counseling is a professional helping relationship that is ethical, supportive, and confidential. Then the next thing is, it's a facilitative process that helps clients explore feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. So we are the ones as counselors that help our clients or facilitate that journey of them being able to, talk about their experience, helping them understand their experience, helping them resolve and solve issues, helping them learn or different form of behaviors. So we guide them, we show them the way so that they're able to become better individuals. So that's another definition of what counseling is. It's a facilitative process, and the facilitator here is you as the counselor. And how do we explore our clients' thoughts, feelings, and behavior? We do that by exploring them, by asking them questions, by trying to understand their world view. That's how we're able to explore their thoughts. For example, if I am speaking to you, for me to get to know you, I'll have to ask you questions. Otherwise, tungekaa tu tuangaliane. For every friend you have, for every person that you engage with, and you want to get to know them better, even for those who are dating or are married, for you to get to know your partner, you have to ask certain questions. You have to ask them questions to find more about them. It's the same thing. When what you are doing, you are exploring your partner. You are trying to find out or know your partner more, or your friend more. So that's how it is. That's how it is in counseling. We are trying to find out more about our clients, not to seem nosy. Even if you start doing your sessions and you find your counselors asking you questions, not that they want to just know your business. No, they just want to understand you so that they can help you better. So it's a facilitative process, and you are expected to help your clients explore their feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. And another thing is, counseling is focused on personal growth, coping, and problem solving, rather than just giving solutions. It's focused on personal growth, coping, and problem solving, rather than just giving solutions. So again, your responsibility is to make sure or to ensure that your client is growing, that your client is becoming a better version of themselves, that they get to understand themselves better, that they're able to cope with matters like anxiety, stress, because these things we experience almost on a daily basis. But what are these coping mechanisms that you're giving your clients so that they're able to cope even outside their counseling sessions? Yeah, so you must ensure that your client is progressing well. And you can always tell your client is progressing in your therapy sessions together if, when they're doing like, when already come up like solutions together, you're seeing your client is trying to do some of the assignments or that you've given them. They're trying to just make sure they're making better decisions and all these things. If you have set goals with them and they're working towards them, that's how you can tell they're growing. If someone was struggling with communication, anytime they're speaking to someone, they're shouting at these people, and they're coming to you and they want to learn how to communicate properly. So if you give them an homework assignment, try to communicate a certain way with this specific person and come back and tell me how that went. And they go and they try to do their best. They come back for a session. They tell you, yeah, there's a time they struggled, but I can tell there's a difference when they communicate in a calm manner. The other person is able to receive me well. That is growth. And you need to ensure your clients are growing in any form and or manner. Sometimes there are clients that they are difficult. They can take time. Okay, kuna wale wako difficult, yes, they're those that take time to make progress. They're those that they don't want to receive what you're saying. You will find those clients. Yeah, so one thing that we should always remember before I explain the other point is never expect that you will have an easy client as a counselor. Never, ever sit down and think you'll have easy clients. It's okay to have them, you will have those easy ones. But to have the assumption that all of them will be easy or good with you is the wrong way to go out, to face this journey. Expect anything. You'll find those that are difficult to open up to you. And it's not about, sometimes it can be about you as a counselor and it can be about them. About you as a counselor inaweza kuwa they just don't connect with you. Two, they may be feeling like there's that normal feeling that I have, quote unquote, they just don't trust anyone. So they take time before they open up to someone. So you find any kind of client that those coming out of their comfort zone is difficult. So they need to be reassured, validated, pushed, motivated more so that they can make steps in their lives. So you'll find those clients, and you'll find a client who will never make any change. And if you observe that for a number of sessions, usually let you know that you can ask them what is hindering them from making steps in their life. And if there's in any way you're contributing to it, or if they would like another counselor who can help them be able to make steps in their lives. So you have to be able to find out. So as a counselor, be open. The way you do life now, these days, or now, you know people who are easy to deal with and you know people who are hard to deal with. So if you know them in your circle or around you, how much more in your therapy room? So expect anything from your clients. So again, we said yesterday, we're not giving solutions. That's not your responsibility. What you're doing, you are coming up with those solutions together. You suggest ideas or ways that can help your client become a better version of themselves, but they're the ones to choose to apply what you have suggested. And also sometimes we lead them to come up with those solutions themselves. So make sure that you avoid. You need to do. I think I said it yesterday. For you to be able to overcome this trauma, you need to do 1, 2, 3 things. No. Instead, because counseling is also about language. Because if you say you need to do, again, yesterday we said, do not showcase yourself as an expert. Yes, you are, but do not make it plainly on their face. So when you come with that aspect, you need to do this, then they see you as an expert. So they always expect you to come up with solutions. Instead, you can say, these are various ways that you can be able to overcome this situation. Number one, you tell them 2, 3, 4, 5. So among these 5, you can see which one will. You can apply any and see which one will work for you. So you have suggested, but they are the ones to make that decision. So I hope you're able to see that clearly. So, and anything that you suggest to your clients or ideas that you give them. Yesterday we talked about information giving, active helping. Those things that we suggest to them, let it be of good to them. Because sometimes you find yourself just because okay, we are human. Sometimes maybe zile advice unapatianga rafiki yako unconsciously unaenda unapatia your client, and your friend, maybe it's, you know, your friend in a different level than you know your client. So some of those suggestions that we make with our friends cannot work with our clients. So we also need to be very, very aware and conscious of what we are saying to them, because at the end, your role is to help them become better individuals. Then the fourth one is guided by skills. Counseling is guided by skills, knowledge, and psychological theory, not just common sense. And today I had an exam for my physical class, and no, it was just a practice, and I was assessing how they were doing sessions, and you can tell those that are able to, who understand the concept very well, those that are trying to make one to come together, because that usually happens, yeah. And when you're doing the practice, we usually evaluate. Are you able, do you know what theory you're using? And if you know that theory, what technique did you apply? So, and you'll find me asking you the same. And if there's one thing I tell all my students, please pay attention when you're being trained on matters theory, and do more research when it comes to theories that you will learn, because theories carry counseling. Theory is very, very important, because these are theories. Now, each theory usually has a number of techniques. So if you don't know a theory, then that means you do not know a technique. And I'll give an example. Way back, we were also having assessment, and one of the students, when they're doing a session, because of the nervousness and all that, when it comes to practice, which usually happens, the excerpt, we call an excerpt, or the case they were doing was someone who has fear of spiders. And so the counselor needs to, of course, it was a bit of like a paragraph, the excerpt of the case study, or the case was like a paragraph, but just as a summary, this client needed help to overcome the fear of spiders. And normally, if a client has fear of spiders and they need help in being able to, you know, navigate that, at least to, hata kama ni uoga, najua kuna ile intense fear, so at least kumweka at least moderate, you need to use a certain technique in a theory called cognitive behavior theory. And that technique is exposure therapy, where we expose this client to spiders. It can be real or it can be false spiders, and you're able to now evaluate where they're at, how they feel when they are exposed to this. So take note, the technique you're supposed to use here is exposure therapy. But this student talked of another theory that we call empty chair technique. And empty chair technique, most of the times it's used in counseling, especially when a client has lost someone, a loved one, and there are things that they felt they needed to say, but they never said before this person passed away. So the empty chair technique, we explain it to you, and we're able to tell you, oh, you can imagine this loved one, ameketi kwa hii kiti, what would you like to say? If it's not, you can't imagine the person, you can use an image, like a photo of them. So going back to the student, so we've talked about exposure therapy and and empty chair technique. And the case here is spiders. So this student, instead of using exposure therapy, akaambia client, imagine a spider is seated here. What would you like to tell the spider? And of course, for a minute, she was like, oh, what just happened? Actually, no, she did not even realize it. When we were giving feedback is when she noticed, oh yeah, I think I confused those two. So what I'm driving at is theories are important. And if you learn the theory, please understand the techniques. Because if I ask you, what theory did you use? You tell me cognitive. Then ask you, what technique did you use? You tell me now, empty chair technique. And when I, as the assessor, am seeing this case is not connected to such a technique, I give you a 0. And I'm able and explain it to you that you need to go back to your theories and study. So counseling, you must have an understanding of theories. You should also have an understanding of skills. Skills are very important. And I yesterday mentioned there are almost like 19. So many. But one way or the other, and we will learn them, and mtaniuliza tu, mwalimu hizi zote tuta-apply kwa session. Trust me, you will. Active listening is one of them. Empathy, summarizing, paraphrasing, so many of them. Silent skill, questioning. All these things you will see even with practice that you'll apply. So counseling, you cannot do counseling out of common sense. That's what we are doing outside here with that's what I did also before I studied. That's what most of us are doing, because someone has seen or you've noticed you have that gift, but you realize what you know and what is core ground are totally different. So counseling is guided by skills, knowledge, and psychological theory, not just common sense. Then finally, counseling is a process that empowers clients to find their own insights and solutions. And I think I explained that, which is connecting to number 3, that you're empowering them. You are guiding them to come up with solutions. You're guiding them to search themselves and see how capable they are to resolve certain things that they're going through in their lives. That's what you do, and that's what counseling is. So counseling is, for me personally, I'm very passionate about it. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever done in my life. And if, of course, it goes with passion. You know, passion to help people, you will help them well. if that is your drive. You'll be able to choose passion other than messing people's lives, because there are people who they are quack counselors, they kuna kwanga na quack doctors. They're there, they exist. So it's a beautiful course, it's a beautiful journey that you begin in. And always have this understanding that you're here to help your clients understand themselves, help them come up with their own solutions, help them be able to, you know, to realize their abilities, what they're capable of doing and achieving in their lives. So even before we start with our clients, let's start with ourselves and evaluating ourselves. So that's it when it comes to what counseling is. I'll talk about what counseling is not, then if there's any question, anyone can ask. What counseling is not. The first one is not advice giving. The counselor does not tell the client exactly what to do. That is not your work. You don't tell them what to do. Yesterday we looked at reasons for not giving advice. Yes. And I'd like to hear from you. What is one of those reasons we said? Reasons for not giving advice. David? Or anyone?
We said that it might be the wrong advice, and it could also land you in problems because you have to take responsibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Someone else? Wanchiko? Okay, Betty?
We say people can never have the same experience. So when you give advice, you give based on it is not objective, it is subjective to the person giving it and their experience.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that. That's true. Someone else? Another reason we gave, Irene?
It can result to dependency, whereby the client will always be looking up to you for solutions, so they'll not grow and be able to find solutions, whereas solutions are within each of us. Solutions to our own problems emanate from ourselves.
Yes, thank you. John?
We also said that often people do not want the advice. They want to be listened to and to be understood.
Yes, perfect. Yes, those are the reasons that we discussed yesterday on reasons as to why we should not give advice. So your work is not to do that. I keep on insisting that your work is to help your clients come up with their own solutions, or help them. Yeah, you help them. Yeah, helping them come up with their own solutions or lead them to that path. Your work is to be a facilitator. You're facilitating that process for them. We want them to be able to know that they are capable of solving their own problems. And yesterday I mentioned in a theory, there's a theory that talks about that every human being is capable of solving their own problems. Shida ni, some do not know how. And those who do not know how are the ones that show up in your counseling office or counseling room. But kila mtu akona that power. You're the one, tunaambiangwa, you're the one that has the power. Like if you do not believe in yourself, even if I believe in you and you do not believe in yourself, it won't help. You must believe in yourself. You can have 10 people cheering you, believing in you, pushing you, but if you do not, then you stay in the same position. So we have to learn how to be our own motivators, our own cheerleaders. So that's how it will be with our clients as well. We need to teach them how to clap for themselves when no one else is clapping for them, and to be okay with that. And it takes work. Sometimes it's easier said than done. It takes work, but it's possible for your clients to get there. So we've said counseling is not advice giving. Another thing, counseling is not friendship. It is professional with boundaries and ethical guidelines. It is not friendship. And we said we are not counseling our friends, we're not counseling our relatives. It is professional. The way, if you're a banker, if you are a chef, any form of career that you're in right now, that is your profession. And that's when unasikianga mtu akisema hufai kuingisha urafiki na biashara. For some people it works, that is different. But for some it doesn't, and this one is the one that does not work. Because the moment you become friends with your clients, the same seriousness that they had with you when you showcase that professionalism, and when it's vice versa, like it just dilutes the whole thing. So remain professional. I said yesterday, if you must, or umeona mmeingiana mmeclick sana, because those moments happen that you really vibe with someone. If you see that is happening, you'd rather refer your client to someone else. Because people who do not refer, unapatanga sasa the boundaries are not respected at all. So we need to be careful. In every other profession, yes, that is what you're asked to do, that you maintain a professional image and professional boundary. So counseling, the same, it's not friendship. Then counseling is not a quick fix. Counseling takes time and reflection. So the perception that people have, see, it's just one session, two, then I'm okay. It's totally impossible. You cannot even contract or schedule less than 5 sessions with your client. The first session is one lengthy session because mnajaza consent form. Then mkutane next week, aanze kufunguka. Ama upate client mwenye hafunguki. So ukisema umecontract 3 sessions, the third session mtakuwa mnamalizia nini? Hata the second one hamjaguzia anything. So less than 5 sessions does not make sense. And we're saying that because you can't solve their problems in 5 sessions, within 5. Because we are talking about understanding your client's worldview. So at least, ikifika 5, sawa, but not anything less than that, 34, 3, 2, no. So another thing also is, as counselors, we need to have the understanding that you may not be able to solve every problem that your client has. And a harsh example is, as individuals, have we solved every problem we have in life? We haven't, and we never solve every problem, because today will be a good day, tomorrow there's another problem, then the following day. The realities of life. So you may find yourself not solving all your clients' problems. That is the goal, to try to help them resolve their problems. But some, you might find yourself not being able to, because it is mainly, the work is mainly on the client. Remember, si tumesema tuna facilitate the process. You're making sure you're working together, nini. You've given them assignments. You know, this is something you can look at if you know, among these things, which one would you want to apply? Okay, aende apply. Asipo apply, that is not your responsibility. As a matter of fact, we'll tell you and I'll train you. And what we usually say is you have a responsibility as a counselor, and the client has a responsibility as well. Yes, your work is to ensure that your client is able to achieve all the goals that they have in therapy. Yes, your responsibility is to be able to make sure that you keep your client's information confidential. The client's responsibility is to be able to apply what has been, I don't say taught, what has been offered to them in the therapy room outside the counseling session. They can apply the information you've given them inside the therapy room, wenda apply huko nje. Wasipo apply, that is not on you as a counselor, it is their responsibility. And we always let them know about this responsibility the first session. And we'll talk about it as we're looking at contracting. We mention it so that they are aware. Asikuja aseme, oh, huku nisaidia. Unaweza muuliza ulifanyaje? What was your role? We have constantly had sessions. You have not done any assignment. I requested that you can do journals. You have not done any. Then how am I to be? How can I be blamed for this when you have a responsibility to solve? And the reason as to why we tell you that as counselors is to protect you, or to make you for you to separate yourself from your client. And this I mean, as people achieve their goals, you won't go home blaming yourself. Because sometimes as counselors, we tend to carry our clients home in our heads. Oh, I wish I would have done that. Ama maybe mimi ndo sijui kufanya sessions. Guys, sasa atakuwa aje? Atasurvive aje? We teach you how to leave your clients' problems kwa hiyo counseling room. The moment you leave that room, you don't carry your client in your head. Or you'll find yourself doing that for some time because it's the first time you're doing this. But after some time, ukimaliza tu session hivi, hapo ndo umeacha shida ya client. Because we tell you that so that you avoid carrying people's burden. It's not easy. Actually, counseling is a good profession, but it can also be overwhelming to carry people's problems when you're also carrying your own. So we'll train you on how to navigate that, but it's good to know that counseling is not a quick fix. Hata wewe ukifanya sessions zako, do not expect one problem will be solved in a day. Because remember, this is a problem you've struggled with for some time. So it will take you time to unlearn certain behaviors or habits that we may have. Because if we go to counseling, or if our clients come to us that notion that it's a quick fix, then we seem like magicians, and we are not. Even someone said, if you're praying to God to help you change your behavior, sometimes what he will do is to bring things that will actually, those things that you're praying atoe kwako, ndo ataleta sasa the more to train you how to control yourself. He won't magically say, the way, if you look at sometimes crazy things that are on internet, that someone umekuja ukasema maybe uko na shida, maybe for example, I'll just say, how will I put it? Any form of problem that you just told someone, it may not magically disappear. That is based on my understanding. So please don't judge me. That is based on the experience that I've had so far. That God will not remove something that you're struggling with the snap of a finger. And that is just how counseling is. Things will about you will not change in a day. So there's that. Then this counseling is not judgmental. Clients are supported without criticism or pressure. And judgmentalness can showcase even in your nonverbals. Nonverbals need facial expressions. Someone is telling you a certain story, na umekunja uso, and you're thinking, how on earth can you do such a thing? Hata kama ulisemi verbally, your face is saying it. And that's why it's easy for me to tell is something that you're going through something, hata kama hujaniambia verbally. Even when in class, for example, if it's a physical class, like here, it's a bit impossible because it's more verbal communication. If it's in class, I'm able to tell someone who is not here, who is daydreaming, someone who is thinking about something else, someone who is paying attention. I can tell that through nonverbal expression. Your expressions communicate that. So judgmentalness doesn't have to be verbal, it can be nonverbal. And we ask that we remain non-judgmental, not judgmental. So not judging our clients, not criticizing them, accept them as they are. And we look at unconditional positive regard as we go, but accept your clients as they are. Accept the people that are around you as they are. Some people you would like them to change certain behaviors, but you don't know, you may not be aware that they struggle as well changing that behavior. They just don't know how to navigate it. Most of us judge people around us, and that's why they can't change. One day you'll be taught about matters addiction and other addiction, and why people that you hope they will change, they don't. There's something that goes on with the mind. That's just on a light note. So judgmentalness, if that's our English word, us being judgmental can make people find it difficult to change their behavior. Some things that people do might be hard to accept, but that's about them. How can you be able to separate yourself from their behaviors? If, for example, you have someone, most people are struggling with people who are drunkards. Sometimes it's us being judgmental that makes them even worse. Have we understood why these people are drinking or why these people are into drugs and any form of addiction, or they're doing certain kind of behaviors? Do we have an understanding as to why they do what they're doing? Or are we just saying, huyu hakwanga tu mlevi, hakuna kitu ingine anajuanga? That's what we tend to say. So we start at home practicing, not being judgmental. Then finally, counseling is not therapy for severe mental illness. This is psychotherapy or clinical intervention. Though mild distress can be addressed. And I said this yesterday, that people who deal with severe mental illness are likely psychotherapists or psychiatrists. Us, yes, we can deal with cases on mental illness that are mild to moderate, but severe, we let the psychiatrists handle them. So they start. There's in every profession, what people can handle, what they cannot handle. So that's what counseling is and what counseling is not. Is there any question before we proceed?
I have a question.
Yes.
Now, because I am fed up with my brother, with his betting behavior, am I being judgmental?
With his what?
My brother's betting behavior. You know, people are struggling with so many things. One of them is betting and alcohol. Now, my brother took 50,000. And in this case, I'm supposed to understand how. 50,000 bet. You're supposed to travel. Your travel is on hold. Like, I don't know. Actually, that is one of the worst experiences I've ever had in my life, because it made me start this month vibaya sana. I don't know whether I am judging. I don't know how to go about it. I even talked to him today and I told him, I'm giving you the last chance. Otherwise, I'm going to disown you as my own brother. I don't know.
Thank you for that, for sharing that. You need to look at what is leading them to gamble. What is leading them to do that? What fuels them to do that? Because addiction is it's usually very complex. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, that, oh, we need to accept them, we do not judge them, which is true, we should not, because they are actually struggling. But then what can you do to be able to help this person to overcome this behavior? And we're saying that does not mean that akienda saidi where it'll change all of a sudden magically, but he needs to be able to be guided, the person that they'll be able to talk to evaluate what's going on, because addiction is addiction for all. Is it maybe pornography, maybe people who play video games, anything, people who are addicted to sex and other stuff. It's usually about it's dopamine. There are so many things that are involved. And as actually like the next 2 months, then something out of nowhere just comes and they relapse. So accepting them as they are is not judge them when they tell them what is going on, but then how can you help this individual?
Now,
also talking about maybe disowning of what benefit is that beneficial to you or to him? How can he be helped? Because no one is beyond help. That's what we believe in. Yeah, so I think maybe he needs to be supported with someone who deals with addiction.
But you see, my brother lies a lot. He doesn't say the truth. And he said, oh, I gambled that money because I wanted to get 120,000 so that I can get enough money to travel. You know.
That's what usually happens with people in addiction. They're very good at lying and coming up with different things. So that's a part of a behavior. So I think if it's something that people can support him in seeing an addictions counselor, then I think he will be able to get the help. Because wakiingianga sana sana, most of them struggle to come out of it because they don't know how to, but they can be guided on how to overcome it bit by bit.
Okay.
Yeah. So addiction is very powerful, but with time we'll also train you on it, but it's usually a very tricky thing. So give people this. If they can get support, please provide support. Do you need a counselor that handles anything addiction, and you need your person, be it be Miriam or anybody else, for help? You can side chat me. I can refer you to one that can support them. Right.
Yeah. But before you end, I have a question. And you know, my brother was the money that he put a bet on, he used 50,000. That money was for his medical visa attestation and stuff. I just need help today because I talked to him. So he's supposed to go to Kuwait for a job, yeah. And so I'm the one who's supposed to give out the money that I'm using an agent, and I'm supposed to pay the money. I don't know whether I am losing the money. I don't know whether I am doing the right thing, because if he can take 50,000 and bet and he cannot feel the pain because he has not worked for the money, I'm not sure if he gets out of the country, he's going to stop the same behavior. So I don't know whether I am helping him because he's supposed to travel by July. I don't know either if I'm losing my money. I don't know.
Now, just to make it brief, with that, it's more of an enabling behavior because you're dealing with someone who gambles their money. So giving them direct money is the first mistake. If money is for medical bills, can he go to the hospital and the money is being wired to the hospital but not direct to him? If he's going somewhere, can this money be paid to someone specific, not him taking that money? Because that's what usually happens. After when it comes to people who are drinking, if you're all of your 10 people and this person is trying to change and the 9 are drinking, how are you helping that one? So you're enabling him, you're creating a trigger. So for gambling, it's when you give money, whether cash or M-Pesa, or you send it to the bank, whichever form, to this person and you know that they're struggling, that can fuel his behavior. And the fact that you're saying you don't know if he's going to stop the behavior, most likely he will not, because that behavior has not yet been addressed. So it will become the same thing. And gamblers are any person who is addicted, they are very good liars. They have learned the art of doing that. So enabling is usually one of these things that we usually do quite a lot. So let me answer the questions that are here. From Anchiko, is there an oath that counselors or psychologists take? Not really. Or so personally, I've not heard that there are oaths that counselors take. So I've not heard of that. I just know that we are supposed to look at our ethics and keep and be professional. About an oath, I've not heard of that. Is walking away a solution to someone's behavior that is affecting us? There are numerous ways to look at it. About the walking away, that's why I asked, is it of I know tukisema walking away, it's helping us, but this person will never remove them in your mind. So you'll always carry them in your mind. Is walking away of benefit to them, or can they just get the help? Yeah, the things that maybe what you can do instead of walking away is creating boundaries with that person. Because most of us think that walking away is a solution to our problems. Hata kitu simple like maybe rafiki yako alifanya kitu na maybe haupendi and you're like, I'm done with this friend, I'll cut off this person. You don't have to cut off people. That's what I came to realize. Or I actually read it somewhere. We do not have to necessarily cut off people, but what we can do is create healthy boundaries. So they know I cannot go to Miriam for this and this. Cannot go to Irene for this and this, because you already put in your boundaries in place. So you can also walking away depends in a way what that means to you. Is the detaching, is walking away detaching, or is walking away done, deleted, no contact, blocked, and all those things. So it depends. Someone, Doris said, gambling is a shortcut route to recover previous financial losses or get rich quick for the lazy. Supporting the gentleman travel is transferring a problem and enabling the problem, which I agree. Because even him going that far, we also need to look at his what are the chances of him, quote unquote, becoming a better individual when he's further away. So my advice to you, Marianne, is for your brother to get help, because yeah, for any other person also who has someone who is struggling, addiction is very bad. Literally, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of power from the individual. Yeah. So that's it. We can move on to the next, which is qualities of a competent counselor. Qualities of a competent counselor, and the first one is they show empathy, which now this is about you, yeah? As a counselor. Kwanza in your timetable utaona imeandika qualities of a counselor. For me, I added a competent. Competent counselor is someone who knows what they are doing and they are showcasing themselves as professionals, yeah? So one, they show empathy. A counselor should show empathy, which is the ability to understand and feel what the client is experiencing. So be empathetic. We said empathy is not sympathy. Those two are different. Sympathy is feeling sorry for your client. Be empathetic. I hear you. I'm here for you. Sorry, I understand you. I can see where you're coming from. I can only imagine how this feels for you. I understand how this might be hurtful. So communicating empathy, showcasing that empathy and warmness towards your client. Another quality of a competent counselor is they practice active listening, which is paying full attention, reflecting and clarifying without interrupting. The way tunaambianga, first let someone finish what they are saying, then come in and say something. And sometimes we tend to struggle, and it's one of the factors when it comes to communication, that we tend to interrupt people when they are talking. And then we ask ourselves later, one of you are, why don't you communicate with me? And I'll give an example with me that I came to realize. One thing that I remember I kept on telling people, or we were advocating, oh, we should encourage men to speak, because there's this notion that men do not share their feelings, do not express themselves. Then it occurred to me, we are saying this, but do we know how to accommodate their emotions and feelings as women? Because we are preaching this, but are we able to? If a man tells you exactly what is in his head that you keep on asking akwambi, how will you respond to that? Because that's usually the biggest challenge. Juu unapata ukiambiwa, you're left like, okay, okay, now what do I say? Because you might not know how heavy the emotion for the man is. You think maybe when you want to figure as a woman is the same way as a man. So that's the note. We've been saying that you should advocate, men should talk. No, I'm saying this because I said I was among the ones, and I was still among the people saying, then how are you supposed to if they speak, are you able to understand? So it occurred to me, sometimes you say hata kama wewe ni counselor imaanishi kila kitu pia uko 100%. So I found myself also struggling the same with my partner. And when I would advocate, oh, okay, if there's something, please let me know, and all that. And I'll find myself akiongea, hata try to make that step to communicate his feelings or his emotions or his thoughts, I interrupt. I'm like, oh no, it's not like that. I'm trying to keep on, interrupting what he's saying. Then I observed, all of a sudden, akaacha. So ukimuuliza, how was your day? It was good. So and so iliendaje? Ilikuwa tu poa. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? So you try to get deeper. You poa poa ni nini, So when I came to ask, like, why I can notice there's that shift in your communication. Like, you're not openly communicating to me the way you used to. He says, but when I speak, you interrupt me. Or when I share how I actually feel about something, you catch feelings. And now I'm wondering which emotion should I handle? Should I say how I feel or manage your emotions? So I came to realize that we need to be careful what you ask for, because they are willing to share, but are we willing to accommodate what they are saying? Are you willing to take yourself aside? Wamalize, you understand them, you say your part, then you move. Are you willing to do that? So I have come to learn that early on. So every time, if I've asked for something, I literally close my mouth. Like, now, you can tuck in your lips, even though this is anything, until I'm a laser. So we find ourselves advocating for certain things, but in reality, are we able to accommodate? So practice active listening. Listen without interrupting people. And it's something that really made it easier for me in the therapy session, that I can listen to someone, be able to pick when they're done with what they're saying, then say something. That is how healthy communication is. Then again, are we listening to understand them? Or are we just listening to hear what they're just saying? Or to listen to respond? Yeah, Kiongea, you already, also another thing I struggle, like Kiongea, I already create my sentence in my head, just waiting to blurt it out. So again, if we struggle with these things at home, let's talk better to therapy. Ask me, I've gone through it. So let's practice active listening, even with the people around us. May it be our partners, may it be our friends, may it be our children. Sometimes even our children may say things that we are not really prepared for, especially if you're dealing with young kids now, Gen Alphas, Gen Zs, also somewhat millennials, wale 90-something hapo. Some for millennials kwenda chini, we are able to verbally express ourselves. Are we ready for that? If it's our children, are we ready for that? Are we ready for the questions that we're being asked? So active listening without interrupting people, listening to understand. Now, please note, I might talk about qualities of a competent counselor. Some of this is what is expected of us. But if, as I'm teaching it, you might find some you are struggling with. Just to be honest, it's part of life. You're a human being. Sometimes, people think counselors are perfect. We are not perfect, and you will never be, because no human being is, only God is. So some of these things, you try to work on them on a daily basis. A person who is self-aware is a person who will make progress in their lives, who will be able to work on certain areas of themselves to become a better version of who they are, and for also other people around them. So it may sound like a perfect human being, but this is what is expected of us. But you may not be 100% of it, but you make sure you work on it. Then they also demonstrate respect and maintain a judgmental attitude. accepting the client as they are. So we must respect our clients, speak to them with respect, show them respect, respect their time, respect their efforts also, and also vice versa. Yeah, so I think I've stressed on it when it comes to accepting our clients the way they are. Then the fourth one is they develop self-awareness, understanding their own emotions, biases, and triggers. Especially number 4, you will see it. Counseling, and it's something I have seen with so many of my students. And I usually say, the way you are now as an individual, and you will tell me, and the way you will be when you're finishing, will be 2 different human beings. But that can happen if you allow the process of change as an individual. If there are areas you struggle with now, you can work on them now. So you'll be able to be more aware of who you are, yeah, if you start, accepting that change of mind or mindset. So they develop self-awareness. We ask that we become aware of ourselves. And the reason is because you'll be having clients that are experiencing issues with self-awareness. And if as a counselor you're not aware of yourself, we might not be fully aware of ourselves, but at least tuko mahali where we know who we are, what we stand for, and all these things. Yeah, so having a client who also has issues with self-awareness, self-esteem. Ukiwa na client kama huyo na as a counselor pia wewe hujijui, it becomes a problem. The tests that we give, assessment tests that we give for you to understand yourself more, and we will share with you. One is called Serene Self-Esteem Test. You can do that test. You can search it online. You'll find it there. Find numerous tests that you can do to just assess who you are. And another thing is, which I came to realize, that we think, based on the number of sessions, where you are, you think all adults are aware of themselves. The reality is that not everyone is aware of themselves. We think, oh, children are the ones that don't know themselves, identity crisis. Trust me, even adults. And adults, I don't mean 18 only. 18, 28, 35, 45, 50, 60, hata 70. And wajijui. We have this notion it's only children who don't know themselves, but we can. Hata sisi tunaweza kosa kuwa tunajijua. So it's a work in progress. So let's work towards that in case you find that, or you see that you're not yet aware of who you are. So as a counselor, develop self-awareness, understand your own emotions. Be aware of them. Be aware when you're triggered. Be aware even when you're happy, sad, angry, any form of emotion that exists. Be aware of what is going on in your system. And you will be as we go. Kama haukwa, trust me, utajipata tu ukianza ukinotice. Ukiona mtu anaenda kukuudhi tu, and you're about to blurt out and shout at them, you become aware, like, where is this anger coming from? You take a deep breath, calm down, look at that person, unamwacha tu unasonga. You will also be aware when you shout at this person, talk to them the way you want. You're conscious. If you have a conscience, nitakwambia you've done something wrong. If you do not have, of course, you'll be like, yeah, it is what it is. So we ask that you start understanding your own emotions, your biases and triggers. Your biases, you might find that people that are not in alignment with your values, with your beliefs. Yeah, your clients will come to you with different values. One day maybe you're a parent to maybe a 20-something-year-old, then God presents you with a client that is the age of your child, and the way they are thinking inakutrigger, inakukasirisha tu, inakuchemsha. You need to keep your problems to yourself. You need to keep your cool, taking a deep breath. This is my client. It's not my daughter. It's not my son. I accept them the way they are. Hata kama it's not aligned with my values. Counseling will test you that way. It will always remind you to accept your client the way they are, with their values, beliefs, attitudes, anything. Accept them the way they are. And also triggers. Triggers. Now, when you're talking about triggers, when we say you do personal therapy, we mean it. And I think I said this yesterday. If you take it as a lazima, me, I'm okay. See, I know myself. I'm fine. Let me tell you, there's something, it's good to be true to yourself and be like, this is what I struggled with. This is the trauma I went through. I'd like to handle this matter. This is the grief I went through. I need to handle this matter. You better touch on it. Please touch on it. Were you bullied? Were you neglected, abandoned by your parents, guardians? Touch on it. Were you violated? Please touch on it. Because client atashow up to. Client atashow up almost the same problem or challenge or experience, I said almost, as you. And if you have not dealt with it, it will be a trigger. And that's when now you find unconsciously, you tell them what to do. Hey, ati nani mamako alikufanyia hivyo? Hey, achana kwani lazima. Then you realize, oh my God, what did I just say? It's coming from me. That's what I talk. That's how I tell myself and I tell my siblings. Hey, remember what my client needed, unconsciously. So what usually happens, things have happened throughout our lives. We store them, we repress them, we push it to the subconscious until we are triggered. And we don't know how to manage. I'll give an example. I like using examples with maybe things that I've seen other people go through or I have personally gone through. I think I mentioned I'm a mother to an angel. I lost my child 8 months ago. And there are so many triggers everywhere. Where I stay, there are children around. Okay, and the good thing about me is I intentionally went for sessions, even before this event, but intentionally I went for sessions to work on myself when I was doing my degree and diploma. So the coping mechanisms are in check for me. So there are situations where maybe you go to church. I remember this time we went to church, and for that, in that day, for some reason, ilikuwa ile siku watoto wanafanyiwa baptism. And I remember I was so shocked because I did not expect that. And I didn't know, sikuwa the previous Sunday, so I didn't know what was going on. So you sit there, you look at people, and you're triggered immediately. So you have two options. One, you cry in front of hata kama watu wako kando yako, or you maintain your cool. So for me, because I knew that is a trigger for, okay, of course, for my husband and I, but for me, I had to, in my head, I had to be like, okay, I need to, because of course I felt like crying and everything. So what can I do? I remembered if you need to calm your nerves and your anxiety and your everything, and you don't want to cry in public, breathe in and out several times. And that's what I did. Another thing that I did, I transferred my emotional pain to physical pain. So I kept on pinching my arm, almost around my wrist. So I'm transferring the hurt emotionally to a physical, to my body, so that I can divert that energy. And that is not, for me, that is how I coped. I was able to survive throughout that whole service. So you'll find things that will come up or show up, and there's nothing you can do but control yourself. So this is to not to just share my story for the sake, but to make you aware that things can show up, but people can trigger you, people can say things that will make you, it can bring out so many other factors or things that are going on inside of you that you've not touched on. So as counselors, develop self-awareness. Make sure you understand your own emotions. Make sure you understand your triggers. Address your triggers, address those issues so that you're able to handle any matter that comes ahead of you sanely. So personally for me, for example, I did not take counseling sessions. I haven't done that for a while because I also need to be a bit better for me to be able to support other people. So you have to look at such things, because unapata kuna times you're not capable of helping others emotionally because you're not there yet. Take a break. Those things happen. And that's why I keep on referencing that as counselors, you're not expected to be perfect. I've handled cases of loss with other people, of taught matters, loss and grief. So you are able to be aware that the things that you learn here, keep it in mind, not just let it, fly by. Isiingie kwa hapa kama script ingine natoka na ingine. So awareness. Then another thing counselors use is strong communication skills, conveying messages clearly, sensitively, and professionally through both verbal and non-verbal means. So we need to communicate clearly with our clients, whether if it's a text, a call, whichever way, communicate clearly. When you're talking about sensitively, is be aware or communicate with people. Maybe unaweza kuwa unaongea na, not saying that ni vibaya, maybe you can talk to other people outside here, which we need to change if we are not doing it well. We need to communicate to the clients in a very respectable manner. Because if you, again, let's say for example, you have mtu amekukasirisha, alafu kuna client, alafu you project. So unaharibu relationship with your client up. So you need to be aware. I'm angry, someone has pissed me off. What do I do? Take a deep breath. Okay, cool. Show up in the session. Okay, you're not perfect. You're not immune to problems and stresses of this life, but you need to be able to cope and manage what is going on within you so that you can be able to show up for people, show up for your clients, especially if you're having sessions. So communicate clearly, sensitively, and professionally. Then counselors, a competent counselor should uphold ethical awareness, maintaining confidentiality, boundaries, and professional standards. Yeah, and we all stress on this so many times. We need to keep our clients' information private. We need to maintain healthy boundaries. A client should not call you 24/7. We said that is creating dependency. Okay, so if a client, for example, says, so if after this session, can I call you anytime something happens? Namwambia, if there's anything that you'd like to communicate to me about that is happening or has happened, what you can do is book a session with me, then we'll be able to communicate in a counseling setup. That is a boundary, and it is a healthy boundary, as a matter of fact, because if you allow a client to constantly call you, trust me, they will call. And I'm saying this also because I went through it. I kept on picking my clients' calls. The first times when I was practicing, I could not have a break. If something happens, it was a premarital counseling session. So if anything happens between them, I'll call. And the next day, I'll call. And I enabled that behavior. And stopping that behavior is usually very hard. So eventually, they ended up breaking up. So that's how I got out of that situation. But he came to learn to draw healthy boundaries with your clients. Otherwise, 12 a.m., 1 a.m., they'll be calling you. Then, number 7, they exercise patience and flexibility, adapting their approach to the client's pace and needs. This is to say that every client is different. Not all clients are the same. There are those that you will need to take them slow. There are those that are quite fast. There are those that are very knowledgeable. They're aware of themselves. There's just a few things that they need to sort out. There are those that it takes time. So adjust, be flexible. Take your client as they are. Be aware of each of your, every client that you have, their strengths, their weaknesses, and how to move with them. So exercise patience and flexibility because every client is different. Then another is they apply problem solving and facilitation skills, guiding clients to explore options and develop coping strategies. I think I've stressed on this. We are guiding our clients to come up with their own solutions, options, for them to be able to know what they're capable of. So that's one of those things. Then the last one is they practice cultural sensitivity, being aware of and respecting the client's background, beliefs, and values. And that almost ties in with number 4. So we need to be sensitive. Every culture is different. Remember yesterday saying that those that don't greet, they're not comfortable with shaking of hands, especially if it's Muslims. And it's women, they may not like that. So, and any other culture that you are aware of, the things that they do not appreciate, we need to be careful with that. We need to also be aware of different cultures and how they operate. Yeah, then every client has a different belief. Every family has different values and beliefs. For example, of course, each one of us have been raised a certain way. The things that our parents or guardians instilled in us. And if all of us were to share, you'll find we all have different things to say. And I always give a simple example that because most people judge it. Those days, or even now, you'll find the men that never enter the kitchen. It's only women who should cook. But there are families where the man is the one just cooking. And there's a family where both of them share chores. So if you're a man having a session with a couple and they tell you comfortably, yeah, my husband cooks, and you know where? Umekuwa ukibelieve, kuna mwanaume anapika amekaliwa, ati anaosha vyombo, ati nguo. Hai, hapana. That is inappropriate. Who can do that? So if you've been raised, you've never seen your father in the kitchen, you've never seen your husband, but there's someone living a different life from that. You need to check yourself and be like, hey, hii ni boma yangu, hivi ndo si tunafanya, wanafanya yao na wako sawa. That's what works for them. So you'll find people doing things differently. May it be finances. There's someone who's like, no, my wife is the one who keeps all the money. Hata sijuangi ni how much ningeanga kwa account ni yeye. And then there's you, you're like, hey, my money is my money, his is his, or his is mine, mine is mine. People are different. So be flexible, receive people, and accept them as they are. That is just a few of the examples. So as a counselor, it's good to practice that cultural sensitivity and be aware and respect your clients. So that's it when it comes to qualities of a counselor. Is there any question?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes, John.
If, like you said, we should not be judgmental and we should understand their values and beliefs. In case maybe you get a client and you totally do not align to what they believe, for example, LGBTQ or mostly that, or maybe a situation where there's a lot of infidelity and you try your best, kabisa, to understand, but you can't, is it okay to refer the client to a different counselor?
That's a very good question. Yes. If you know for sure you are not able to withstand or comprehend or even sit through someone's experience or story and it's triggering you or it's making you uncomfortable, you can refer. However, there's a way to go about it. You just don't say, hey, I can't handle, I think it's too much, please. That is unprofessional. That is doing harm more than good, and doing harm is unethical. So instead of saying such a statement, it's best that you say, you don't have to even give the actual reason. So unfortunately, I may not be able to proceed with you in the sessions that follow. And this has nothing to do with you, but to do with me. So instead, I think it's best that I refer you to another counselor, because my main goal here is to make sure that you have a good counseling journey and for you to be able to be comfortable and all that. And for me personally, where I'm at, I'm not able to proceed further. So I'll like to refer you to someone else that I know for sure will be able to be of support to you, and to ensure that you have a good journey, a good counseling process and journey. So yeah, that's how you structure it. You don't have to say, hey, because you said you're LGBTQIA, I don't think I'll be able to handle this matter. It's too much for me, and I find it, quote unquote, this is an example, disgusting or sujiaji. You do not say such statements, because if you do that, then at okay, refer to the next person. They don't know if you'll refer to someone who's also not comfortable. So just protect them, protect yourself. Do not have to give the actual reason of you stepping back. I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, thanks.
Right. Doris, you are asking if your personal belief, can your personal belief have effect on the issues you're handling with your client? Yes, they can. They can have an issue. It's just for you to be able to know, is it something that you can handle? Can you like overcome? Can you be able to put aside your beliefs? If you find yourself you're not able to put your beliefs aside, then it's best that you refer. Every time that you handle your client, always have this in mind. You're doing good to your client and no harm to your client. Always good things. You do what is best for them. So if you do what is best for them, easier for you to navigate. Yes, Millicent.
Hi, I have a question. If for a long time, now that we've learned that we are not supposed to give advice to anyone, we're supposed to guide them along. And in the past, before I learned what now I know, I have somebody who is very close to me. I would call them a family because it's somebody that I've been with for a very long time. So today they called me, and because in the past I've been able to tell them do this or do this or do this, I realized they have been depending on me to give them solutions to solve one or two things. So today they came up with something that they are going through, and I kind of remembered that we are not supposed to give advice on what they should do. So how do I help them to navigate on their own, and they're not even willing? They are a bit wounded, so they're not even willing to think on their own, and they're not willing even to be helped or given somebody else who can help them. How do I move now to show them I can't be able to be giving you the advice that I've been giving you, but I can guide you along. Also, which now that I'm learning, I'm also not supposed to give you to be a counselor to you, now that they know I'm also doing counseling. So how am I supposed to navigate on that? And I don't offend them, and also I'm on the safe side as well. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So remember, when it comes to advice giving, we stress it sana when it comes to counseling sessions with your clients. Outside there with your friends, family members, you can do as you please. However, I think I gave yesterday gave like a statement you can use when someone is dealing with something and you don't know how to navigate it. You ask them, how would you like me to support you or show up for you in this moment, especially if you don't know what they want. You can give advice to your people, but kwa sessions not tunakataza. But if you don't know how to navigate it, ask them how they would like to be supported. Then once they tell you, then it will be easier for you to work together or to move together with harmony. So that's how I'll respond to that. I don't know if I've answered your question, Millicent.
Yeah, yes, you have. But the main thing is, I know what they should do, but I also don't want to give them what they should do, because I also want them to participate in getting the solution, but they are not willing to think, they are not willing to take that opportunity. Like when you ask them, how can I support you in this? They want you to give them the direct thing, that go and do this and this and this. And that is now what I'm avoiding too.
Yeah, then it's best that you still, if you want to avoid it, then avoid it. Because again, every human being is responsible of their own actions, behavior, thoughts, and feelings. If you also constantly are pouring onto them and they're not able to think for themselves, then that means you're enabling them. He or she is capable of coming out of that situation. They just need to be able to believe that they can. So you empower them more to realize their full potential, especially if you want to create that room for them to think for themselves, because people can, but sometimes tumewafanya sana, tumekuwa tukiwafikiria sana, wamezoea hivyo. So creating that boundary with them is also good. What you're saying, you don't want to keep on engaging in that manner of giving advice constantly, is a good step. Is a good step so that they are able to realize that, oh, okay, no, then no one is coming to save me. So they'll be able to get themselves out of it. Just keep on reassuring them, validating them. You know, you can come out of this. You can come up with ways you can navigate this. You can listen to this video. You can pick one or two, three things. You can read this book. You can read this quote and borrow something. Push them to be able to realize their full potential.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. So which is a good thing to say, and which is unfortunate or harsh, that me personally came to realize is, even if you're doing sessions or what, no one is coming to save you but yourself. No one is coming to save you but yourself. So you better save yourself. It's either you stay there or you wait for others, which you can wait forever, or to pick yourself up and move. Dust yourself and move. The way these kids, bila ukiobserve watoto, usifikirie tu ni vitu tu unaona hapa physical. Learn something from them. These babies that are trying, ama hata vile sisi tulikuwa, these children that they are crawling and they are trying to stand and hold tables and walk around, or then they fall. Look at that as a life lesson. What do? When they try to pick themselves up and hold on to the table or hold on onto anything so they can walk, that is a lesson in life, that if you fall, pick yourself up. And that's why unaonanga watoto wakianguka, most parents wanafanyanga nini? Wanaangalia kando, hata wataki kuona juu. Ukimwangalia ataanza kulia. Usipomwangalia, atalia kaa tabia, atajinyamazisha asonge na life, ama atakuangalia uni una focus, ajiamshe tu naendelee. That is how we need to learn, that if I fall down and hurt myself, I need to pick myself up and keep on moving. And that's how all of us here, by the grace of God, we're able to walk, because we stood when we fell. So most of us need to have that realization. You can have harsh truths. Yeah, loving someone, yes, but giving them that hard kind of love. Because if there's no one else to save them, can they save themselves? Can you save yourself? Yeah. So moving on.
Maybe teacher, before you move.
Yes.
Good evening. I was just listening to the feedback of what Millicent was saying. And maybe let me pick it from a different perspective or a different angle. When we said, you see, you cannot counsel your family, your colleagues, those people who are close to you. I don't know if from Millicent's perspective, the people who are reaching out to her, is it because maybe she could be a subject matter expert? Let me assume maybe she's a legal profession, and whatever is, they're reaching out for you in that aspect, in terms of being given an advice. So do you weigh what it is that they are telling you, so that you know if at this point they should also reason for themselves, or is it indeed a situation where they can help themselves navigate their next course of action, or is it a point where you can direct them because you are a subject matter expert? Then the second thing that I wanted to say, you see, when you mentioned the aspect of the skill of being empathetic to your clients and the words that we use, there's this word that maybe I heard you use, I understand you. And I am looking at a point of sometimes maybe someone has lost a relative, a father, a husband, a spouse, a child. But me as a counselor, I have not experienced such. So wouldn't it be misleading for me to say, I understand you, and yet I don't think I understand what that person is going through, because I have never undergone that. So it would be okay for me to say, yes, I hear you. And the reason why I'm saying that is because maybe I have seen in socials where we are told, what words do we use when people are grieving? we should be very deliberate with the words we use, because you could be saying, I understand you, but you don't know the kind of relationship that I had with my father. So, or you have never been through such. Maybe as much as we are guided to show empathy, we should know which are the right words to use. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Now, I remember I said we need to be careful with the language. So that also means that where to use it. Because you can say, I understand you in a different context. Yes, in grief, that is different. We do not say that. But when someone is expressing something to you, for example, like how maybe a fight came about, or maybe they had something going on with their boss and all that, and they're explaining to you, you can say, understand where that's coming from. Yeah, I now understand where that's coming from. You're able to make like a connection of why this behavior and this is, like maybe why their behavior or whatever happened triggered that behavior. So I understand why you behaved that way, because so and so said this. So when you're talking about language, yes, you have to be sensitive to it and apply it where it's applicable. When you're dealing with matters, loss, grief, trauma, yes, you cannot use the I hear, I understand, unless you actually do, based on your experience. And if I say, I understand where you're coming, I understand why you're feeling that way, or I understand the pain. And you can always expound, because there's a skill called self-disclosure. I understand the pain that you're carrying because I also went through the same thing. So again, it's the language where that you're using, the words that you're using, and where you're applying it. So if you are not relating, then I hear you, I see you, and I'm present here with you. So those are the statements that you can use. So with that said and done, we can take a break or for like 10 minutes. Then I don't know if 10 minutes is a lot. I've never had like an online break. This is the first class I've had one. So how long do we want to take the break for?
10 minutes is okay.
10 minutes are okay.
Okay, so we can take 10 minutes. We'll be back at 8:32. Then we'll proceed from there, because from there we just have something short. Please. So Judy, let me get back to you after the break. If it's a question, you can note it down. Then we'll be able to touch on it when you come back. Okay. So our break is over. Can we proceed? All right, so we're looking at this is our timetable. We're going to look at personal development and benefits. And with that, I'll give you an assignment which we'll discuss. I'll give you an assignment that you need to do as an individual in exploring yourself. So personal development and benefits. So personal development is the conscious process of improving oneself in areas like mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and physical well-being to reach one's full potential. I'll repeat, personal development, or what we call the PD. We just write that. So if you hear me just saying it in initials, you know what I mean. PD is the conscious namaanisha something that is your awareness, yeah, you're aware of it. Is the conscious process of improving oneself in areas like mental, emotional, social, spiritual, and physical well-being to reach one's full potential. And the reason as to why it's broken down like that, because all that is what makes up an individual, or sometimes you call it holistic. Yeah, when you improve your mental state, your emotional state, your social, meaning you're interacting with others, you're not self-isolating or withdrawing, you're engaging with other people because no man is an island. You're spiritual, because it is believed that, which most people, if I can be corrected, scientists have tried to make some connection or try to understand how powerful it is when human beings pray. There's some sort of connection that they have with, I would say it in terms of how scientists say it, supreme being. When they do their tests, they're able to tell that there's something that happens to human beings when they connect to a supreme being, or when they're praying to a supreme being. So, meaning your spiritual journey, or where you being at a good place with the one that you worship, does make a difference in your life. And that's why we find that those that maybe if they are engaging bad behaviors, activities, just living a crazy life, and they decide to give their life to Christ and all that stuff, there's just a difference in their lives. Like kuna just different dynamics that go around that. So they still acknowledge that the spiritual aspect of our individual is very important, that they connect to something or to someone is a very important thing for an individual. And also physical well-being is very important. Taking care of your health, if it's exercise, if it's jogging, if it's dancing, whichever thing, engagement that you want to engage in, you do it to be able to reach your full potential. So all these things involve a human being or you as an individual. So evaluate yourself and see where you at holistically. How are you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially, and see where you can work on and improve on. So benefits. The first one is of benefits of personal development. The first one is self-awareness. You understanding your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, so when you make that conscious decision to get to learn yourself, you're able to be aware of yourself, of your strengths, of your weaknesses, what you like, what you do not like, what you love, what you do not, or what you love, such things, who you care for, who do you prioritize, all these things. So self-awareness is important, knowing who you are, And it's good to engage in personal development activities. It doesn't have to just be tests. It can be easy na meetups zote unapatananga ya kutembea, ya kukimbia, anything that if you want to join groups where people are making flowers, making pots with clay, making glass, anything that you enjoy and that gives you, that thrill of life, you do it. If you're going to join workshops, do more short courses, anything that you need to do to improve your mental and emotional well-being, do it. So make sure you're able to explore yourself so that you're able to be aware of, what you can do and what you cannot do. Also, another thing is to improve your confidence and self-esteem. Okay, whereby you feel proud and capable. So personal, that's one of the benefits as well of personal development. It makes you feel confident. Before you were not able to, you start engaging in different activities, you start talking to people, you start realizing, a different version of you. You start presenting yourself in a confident manner. Your energy, your aura is different with people around you. Someone who is confident is someone who has worked on their self-esteem. There are those that are born confident, yes. There are those that mask confidence. There are those that do not have confidence at all. Kuna time unaweza kuwa unaona mtu akisema this person is very confident. Yani anaweza sema kitu kama hiyo. Sometimes maybe it's just not who they are. They just adjust to the environment. They just have to behave that way. But deep down, behind the closed doors, they know very well they are not. And you'll see this. Not everyone is who they seem to be, which is unfortunate. Sometimes, and that's why mnaonanga maybe ukisikia mtu amejiua and you're like, what? I did not expect that. Who saw that coming? Because they have been masking all this time. Masking is creating a facade or creating an image that is not really them, so that they can fit in the society. So they pretend that they're okay so that they can be accepted. They pretend that they're confident, but in reality, they're not. So you'll find situations where people behave that way. By masking, or they actually are confident people, or they are learning to be confident. So we ask that you continue learning yourself and, do not mask, be confident, work on your confidence. There's one thing that the confidence is determined na ni wapi unafunguka. Read your environment as well. And that's why human beings the way we are created is very interesting. If you research more about us, we are not the same people. How will I put it? We are just who we are based on where we are. If you're here in class, there's a way you present yourself. Ukiwa kwa nyumba, you're different. Ukienda job, you're a different human being. When you're hanging out with your friends, different. When you're with your wife or girlfriend, different. With your children, different. Imagine, so we're basically like chameleons at this point. So we tend to change and adjust everywhere we go. In church, we are different. If, for example, at home, you always, ukifika kwa nyumba, unaweka miguu juu ama kwa meza, but ukienda somewhere else, someone's place, where don't you do the same? You're adjusting based on that environment. Oh, ukiwa home, there's a way you laugh. When you're in front of people, hata mtu asisema unachekanga. So we adjust where we feel two different environments, and that is okay. I'm not saying that it's wrong. The adjustment is different with masking. There's a difference between you adjusting to certain environments and you masking. Those neither hand in hand, but there's a difference. Because the way I am here, the way I'll speak to someone here is not the way I'll speak to someone else. Not saying that maybe I'll disrespect the other person, no, but it's just dependent on the kind of relationship we have. So that's how basically we are as human beings. Then another thing, that another benefit of personal development is you develop better relationships, such as empathy and communication improve. So when you get to know yourself and improve yourself holistically, you're able to create better relationships. You also have able to manage stress and feelings effectively. Remember, I said qualities of a counselor is to know who you are. So you become emotionally healthy. Another thing, personal development improves skills and career opportunities. Professional growth, what we are doing now, we are learning more. We are constantly trying to improve ourselves, trying to help others. So we get to learn information to facilitate that. And finally, personal fulfillment, whereby we're able to achieve our purpose, resilience, and life satisfaction. So when it comes to personal development, it's a continuous journey. No one is fully 100%, like no one is 100% at sasa nimetosheka. Kujitengeneza, kujiomba, kujiimprove, nimeisha sasa. No, we constantly try to improve ourselves each and every single day. So it's a journey. It's not a destination, as it's just a journey. So make sure usikuwa na hiyo pressure that you must be fully aware by the end of this course. No. After memaliza, you keep on being aware of yourself in other areas, in other ways. And yeah, so it's a journey. So one of the personal development activities that we train you and teach you is Johari's window. I want to assume that some of you have had it. For those who have not had it, I'll still train on it. It's an activity that we request you to assess yourself and do it on a paper or on a book or qua computer, whichever way you want to go about it. Make sure that you're able to do this activity carefully and keenly. Because, and please also don't search, because this is about you. Okay, you're assessing you. So make sure that when I train this, you're able to go back and sit down and look at this activity and do it as an assignment. Because the activity tunapatianga even our clients to do, because especially for clients who want to, get to know who they are and understand themselves much better, we give this as an activity during the session that they can do. So you must be able to understand it. I usually tell my students, and of course I'll still mention it to you, that as a counselor, you should be able to understand every activity or every assessment tool or anything that you introduce to your client. You must have an understanding of it. We don't want you to go and bite your tongue or be confused and look incompetent. Do not introduce anything in your therapy session that you have no understanding of, because it will really expose you. So I'll explain the Johari's window. This is trained all over the places, everywhere. There's a Fundisha church. I've seen it the time I saw it being taught as a sermon, which was very impressive. There are those that teach it in communities, in schools, anywhere, in workplaces. They teach this Johari window. So let's look at it. And of course, if you have any question, you can ask. So the Johari window is a psychological tool that helps people understand themselves and their relationships with others. It is used in counseling, personal development, and group settings to increase self-awareness, communication, and trust. So the Johari window has 4 quadrants. Instead of explaining all these points, they're all in this diagram. So here I wrote, trainees activity to draw and illustrate their own Johari's window. So that's the assignment for you. So you can submit it to me. I'll send my email. You do that assignment, I'm able to evaluate and correct you kakuna mali, like you have confused either, or if there's no correction, I just give you feedback. Then likely just print it and keep it in a file. It's very important. So here's the diagram. Just a minute. All right, so the Johari window, this is how it looks like. I hope you're able to see it clearly. Self-awareness and communication model. I just said it has 4 quadrants. So you draw a square and divide it.
You have not shared your screen.
Oh, all this time all this time I thought I've been sharing my screen. Sorry. Yeah. So I hope you can see it now. So we've said it's a psychological tool. It's a psychological tool that helps people understand themselves and their relationships with others. It has 4 quadrants. And the first one that we'll talk about is open area, into brackets, known to self and others. So known to self, meaning what you know about yourself and others know. What I know about myself and others know. That's what we call the open area. For example, I am friendly and others see me as approachable. So when you're going to do this assignment or this activity, you say an example of what you know about yourself and also other people know about you. That's the open area. The next quadrant is blind area, which is known what others know about me, but I do not realize what others know about me, but I do not realize. For example, I interrupt people without knowing it. So sometimes when it comes to the blind area, it can include things such as habits, behaviors, or personalities you're unaware of. And when it comes also to blind area, sometimes ni mtu anakuambia, mtu anaweza sema unaongea sana, you're very talkative, so you didn't know that you don't know that you keep on talking all the time. You did not know, but someone said it. So what others know about me, what you know about me, but I don't realize. So that's what the blind area is about. Then we have the hidden area, known to self, not to others. So what I know about myself, but what I know about myself, but keep hidden from others. For example, I feel nervous about speaking in public. I feel nervous about speaking in public. So when it comes to hidden area, you can insert private thoughts, feelings, or experiences that you've kept hidden. So wewe pekee ndo unajua, but watu wengine hawajui. So that's what you indicate there. Then unknown area is what is known to both unknown area, unknown to self and others. What is unknown to both myself and others. This can include hidden potential, untapped abilities, or unconscious behaviors. So for example, I might have a talent for acting I have never explored. So an unknown area inaletianga watu a bit of issue because the reasoning is like, but I don't know. You know, it is like yes, it's unknown, but in you like, you know, you have like a certain gift or a certain talent or ability, but you've not tapped into it yet. That's what basically when it's unknown area, what it means. It's somewhere in your unconscious or it's somewhere in your mind, you know. Kwanza nikipatiwa hii opportunity kufanya hii job, naweza kuwa hivi. Or naweza excel in it, but you've never tried. So you don't know how it will turn out. Ama vile mtu asema, mtu akinipatia 1 million sahi, tafanya hivi na hivi na hivi. So once you receive it, that's when you're able to do those things. So you don't know yet. That's what is in your mind, that if you're given that opportunity, this is what you'll do. Or I'll open a business, or I'll open a salon, I'll open a boutique and whatnot. Or I'll be very good in business and etc. and etc. So that's that is the Johari window. So you can draw it. Those are my examples. So for you need to come up with your own examples. We have mentioned it's for self-awareness. Do not search online unless you are trying to understand it more. But do not search examples and make it your own. No, it's for your own good, for your own assessment. Personal development activity, as I've said, and it's your responsibility to look at it and work on it as an individual. It will make you start, because there are times we don't take time to listen, to evaluate ourselves. So this is that opportunity for you to sit down and evaluate who you are and how others see you and how you see yourself. So is there any question in regards to this? Yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Marie. You have really taken us through a number of things. We need to appreciate that. But then maybe my question will be, why is it called Johari's widow and not Timothy's widow? Why is it called Johari's widow?
It's because of the founder. So it's there's a story. It's not called, I think I've already answered. I don't know if you heard me. It's not called Timothy's window, but Johari's window because of the founder. So the founder is called Joseph Laft. There were two founders, Joseph Laft and Harrington Ingham. Let me just type their names. Okay, let me type it so that you're able to see. That's one of the founders, and Harrington. Ingham. So they came up, I hope you can hear me. So they came up with this Johari, Joseph, Joe for Joseph. You are very creative. And this one, Harry. That's how they came up with it. So that's how they came up with the word Johari window. So they just combined the first parts of their names. Yeah. I hope I've answered your question, Timothy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right, Millicent.
How many are we supposed to give on each?
As many as you can. As many
Okay.
as you can. Yeah. Because it's you assessing yourself, you exploring yourself. So as many as you can.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's something I've seen here. So the assignment is for you to do this Johari's window. The trainee's activity is to draw and illustrate their own Johari window. That's your assignment for the week. So once you're done with your assignment, I'll share my email so that you can share, type it. I think it's easier when you type it. You print it. I believe my stories are POE. You can insert it in that file, your portfolio of evidence file. So yeah, type it, it's easier. Then print it and insert it in the file. But for me to receive it, I'll send my email so that you all share with me. I'm able to just evaluate and see kama kuna mahali you have maybe confused either. I try to correct you so that you're able to do, if you come to your time with a client, do not do ile makosa ulifanya. Like asifanye makosa ulifanya and you approve it. I don't know if you get what I mean. So just for evaluation. Yeah, so that's it, and that's what marks today's class. We have touched on, yeah, please, Ernest. I can't hear you well.
I'm saying the deadline to do the assignment.
You should submit it before Tuesday next week. So let's say by Tuesday.
Very well.
Yes. Yes, you can draw the table as it is. I'll send you the notes to be able to go through it. So don't worry. Right, so that marks today's class. At least you'll be able to cover day 2. I'll take you through so that you see we are within the time. So day 2, and we have completed Wednesday and Thursday cover the full day, yeah, day 2. So next week we'll cover the model of a competent reflective counselor, counseling relationship, preparing a counseling venue, and personal issues that you will present for counseling. That's what we'll cover next week. Is any question or comment? Can let me know. Yes, Rosette.
Teacher, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the lessons we've learned. Just a quick question. You've just mentioned about us after making the Johari window that we're supposed to insert it somewhere. Where is that? Or did I miss the memo?
I said you can type it. You can create.
Yes, type it. Okay.
You create the table document and just insert the details that you have, then you submit it to me via email.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Okay. After making it, then we submit. You mentioned about us sending it to you by email. Okay, and then.
So you create that table. I don't know if you can hear me well. Rosette, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm listening. You're breaking.
So what I'm saying is that you form that table, you create that table the way it's just shown in the image. Do not have to make it the way like colorful and all that. Just make it a square, divide it equal 4, then insert the details necessary in that in those quadrants. Then once you've done, of course, save it, then you share with me via email. That's what I had mentioned. I hope you've heard me well.
Please, you'll share with us your email.
Sure, I'll share. Let me just type it here because I don't want to put it everywhere. So unaweza iandika tu kwa kitabu ama ni kwa karatasi. So I'm writing it kwa message. There it is. So check on your messages, you'll be able to see. Yes, Irene.
I'd just like to maybe confirm what Rosette is asking. You'd mentioned about the portfolio of evidence file where we need to enter, to wherever, or input the assignment.
Yes, exactly.
Clarifying. I think it's something that had not been mentioned, so maybe you can just make it clear so that we are all on the same script. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about that. Were you guys taken through POE? The first day of class, POE, portfolio of evidence?
Not that I can remember, unless others can.
No.
Okay. Are you told, mlikuwa mmeambiwa kuna journals mnafaa kufanya, kuna assignments, kuna audio video recording? Were you told of those things?
Yes.
Sasa hizo vitu zenye mliambiwa hizo as exams, internal, the exams written, practical, video and audio commentaries, assignments that you're given in class, any kind of assignments, all those papers, they need to be inserted in a file. Kama you have small children, or hata the kids right now, kuna kitu wanatumia inaitwa portfolio of evidence. Hata sisi tunatumia portfolio of evidence. Colleges and some universities, they use POEs. So it's just a normal spring file or pocket. I think this is in a pocket file. I don't know. I think, yeah. So anything that you submit to me or you've been given as an assignment or an exam or a cut, make sure you print it and insert in that file. That is what communicates as evidence that you have undergone the course and you've done what is required throughout in the course program, including your journals. You are told 15 journals, including your journals. Everything pertaining to school should be in that file. I hope now it's clear.
Yes, clear. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so it means it's a folder that we are keeping for ourselves. We are printing it out, but keeping it within, as in for ourselves. We are the ones who are keeping it ourselves.
Yes, so you need to just get a file from the supermarket or textbook center, whichever. But anything paper, it matters with school unaweka kwa your file. The reason as to why we do it's because in case you ever decide to do TVET exams, that is the national exam, you have your papers ready. Also, sometimes at the end of the course program, to come here to present or tell you, and you're able to check your POE. Yeah, so in case I don't able to, now find national just have your file always ready. I hope that's clear now.
On the
Yes,
same,
it's very clear. It wasn't explained. It had not been explained, so, but it's clear now.
Yes, Joe.
there was a mention of a digital platform where we were supposed to upload something. Is it the same thing? Are they related?
Okay, kuna digital platforms kadhaa. It depends the one you're talking about. There's the one where you need to submit your documents to ensure that you've been registered and you're in the KIPCO system. And there's also maybe if once you're in the system, you're able to access a platform called e-learning, where I can post notes there, assignments there, exam there, especially now that it's an online class. So those are the two platforms that they require you to be on. You can also access your student portal. But for you to access these systems, lazima umesubmit your KCC, your ID, your passport. So I advise my students to make sure you follow up with those instructions so that you can access anything from KIPCO and that everything of yours iko kwa under KIPCO. Ukikosa kuregister, unaweza sema I'm a KIPCO student, but wakienda kuangalia kwa system hauko, then they remember, oh, you did not register. Then you wonder. So kama you've not applied, you've not registered, please follow up with the marketing department or head of training. I believe most of you have talked to Joyce or Betty, Joyce from marketing, Betty from the front office, customer relations. Engage with them so that you're in the system. Right,
Okay.
so, okay, right, so I think that's it. Not engage us in matters of what we're taking home because of time. But I believe that we have carried home something today. If we have, maybe you can respond with anything on the emoji side. Yeah. Email. That's good. Thank you for the feedback. Email, nimeshare kwa messages. Check the messages side. I've indicated my email there. I believe everyone amepata your email. Assignment due on Tuesday. Another thing, we need to start submitting our journals. So as you're submitting your Johari window, submit your first. Actually, it should really be the second journal. Yeah, for those who joined the first class, unafaa kuwa umeandika journal. For those who joined yesterday, you need to write your journal. In journal, you talk about anything that you have studied, anything that has stood out for you, and you're likely to apply with people around you, apply in your own life. Journals, I do not receive half a page. I receive almost a 4-page plus. So it's a place for you to fully express your thoughts and feelings. Also connecting it with what you are studying. So for those who joined class last week, on Tuesday, I need to receive 2 journals. For those who started class this week, I need to receive 1 journal, all in my email before you guys, all of you are in the system. So, yeah. Okay, Rosette, your hand is up.
Okay, so the journal, just for clarity's sake, so the journal is only purely connected to the class.
At least connect your what you're studying. We just want
yes,
to
I think it. Okay.
You just want to see if there's anything that you're applying, anything that is impactful, anything that stood out. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'll see someone asking about the notes. I'll share that just in a few minutes. Once tumemaliza class, I'll share it in the group. Yeah, I'll share it in the group. Once I get all your emails, I'll be sharing the notes by email. Is that it? Any other question? If there's no other question, someone can volunteer to pray.
Let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we want to thank you this night. Thank you for your love. Thank you for your grace. Thank you because we have come to the end of our session. And thank you for the knowledge that we are taking home. Thank you because you have been with us. Thank you for each and everyone that was present today. Thank you for our trainer. Thank you, Lord, because some of us, we are struggling with so much traumas, and Lord, it's a journey we have started. It's a journey, it's a process that we are also learning to heal and how to help others. Lord, may you be with us when we are taking on this journey, when we are taking this step of faith on healing, and also taking a step of faith to learn something new so that we can educate and train others. Lord, be with us all the time. And Father, Lord, we thank you for the rest of the week. And Father, we pray that you give us strength, you give us good health, and when we meet back here next Tuesday, we shall be careful to give you the glory and all the adoration. For those who are in Kenya, bless them. For those who are outside the country, continue favoring them and expanding their boundaries. Bless our families back at home, and when you do all that, glory and honor shall be back unto you. Thank you, Lord. We bless you. Even as we start journaling, Lord, help us. Walk through with us, because we cannot do anything without you. And Father, we bless you, glorify your holy name. And it is through your Son, Jesus Christ, we do pray and believe. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Lord Jesus Christ,
And have
the love of God, the
of the
fellowship of the Spirit, be with us now and forevermore. Amen.
Amen.
All right. See you next week.
All right, bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. John, look for me. Look for me, John.
Yeah, Ernest.
Yeah, look for me, please.
I will.
Yeah.
Next week nakutafuta sana.
No, this week, tomorrow.
Tomorrow you'll be at work.
No, I'm on leave, so I can access you.
Oh, I'll be at work. We can say 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Okay, so.
Thank you.